Hey everyone, welcome back to the podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that honestly took me years to understand. The way we talk to ourselves. Not out loud, I mean inside our heads. Because sometimes, the person who speaks to us most cruelly is us. And the strange thing is, many of us don't even notice it anymore. We think it's normal. Maybe you know this feeling. You make a small mistake at work, and suddenly your brain says, "Of course you messed up." Or you try speaking English and forget a word, and your mind immediately says, "You sound silly." Or maybe you're tired all the time lately, and instead of resting, you tell yourself, "You're lazy." I think a lot of people live like this every day, quietly bullying themselves. And today, I want to talk about self-compassion. Not in the cheesy, love yourself perfectly kind of way. I mean real self-compassion. The kind that helps you survive difficult days. I remember one night a few years ago. It was around 2 a.m. I was sitting on the floor of my apartment eating cold convenience store noodles because I was too stressed to sleep. And I kept replaying a conversation in my head. You know when you say something awkward, and then your brain forces you to relive it 500 times? Yeah, that. And I remember thinking, why am I like this? Not that was embarrassing. Not I made a mistake. But why am I like this? Like one awkward moment suddenly became my entire identity. And to be honest, I think a lot of us do that. We turn tiny failures into proof that something is wrong with us. One bad grade, I'm dumb. One breakup, I'm unlovable. One failed interview, I'll never succeed. Our brains can become very dramatic very quickly. And here's what's interesting. Most of us would never speak to another person that way. Imagine your friend calls you and says, "I failed my exam." You probably wouldn't scream, "Wow, you're a complete disaster." No normal person would do that. You'd probably say something softer, something human. Maybe, "That really sucks." Or, "You worked hard." Or, "One exam doesn't decide your whole life." But when it's us, different story. Suddenly, we become judges, punishment machines. And I wonder sometimes where we learned this. Maybe from school, maybe from parents, maybe from social media, maybe from the internet, constantly telling us we should be more successful, more attractive, and more productive. Everywhere we look, somebody is waking up at 5 a.m., running 10 kilometers, building a business, drinking green juice, and somehow also having perfect skin. Meanwhile, some of us are just trying not to cry in the supermarket. And I think that's why self-compassion matters. Because life is already hard before we start attacking ourselves. Self-compassion doesn't mean pretending everything is okay. It doesn't mean avoiding responsibility. It just means talking to yourself like you are a human being instead of a machine. That's it. A friend of mine once told me something I've never forgotten. He said, When I fail, I become two people. The first person is sad, and the second person starts yelling at the sad person. I remember hearing that and thinking, wow, that is exactly what happens. Something painful happens, and then we add extra suffering by attacking ourselves for feeling pain in the first place. You lose your job. Then your brain says, you should have worked harder. You feel anxious. Then your brain says, what's wrong with you? Other people can handle life. You get exhausted. Then your brain says, you're weak. It never ends. And after a while, that voice becomes so normal that we stop questioning it. But maybe we should question it. Because honestly, being cruel to yourself usually doesn't make life better. It only makes life harder. I used to believe self-criticism was necessary. I thought, if I'm hard on myself, I'll improve. But actually, shame made me avoid things. It made me scared to fail, scared to try, scared to look silly. And I think many English learners understand this feeling very well. Sometimes, people are not afraid of grammar. They are afraid of embarrassment, afraid somebody will laugh, afraid of making mistakes, afraid of sounding imperfect. But mistakes are literally how humans learn languages. Babies make mistakes for years. Imagine if babies gave up after saying one wrong word. Imagine a 2-year-old saying, well, I mispronounced banana. My career is over. That would be ridiculous. But adults do this to themselves constantly. So what does self-compassion actually look like in real life? Sometimes it's very small. Sometimes it's just noticing your own exhaustion. Sometimes it's allowing yourself to rest without earning it first. Sometimes it's saying, today was difficult, instead of, I'm failing at life. Sometimes it's admitting, I'm not okay right now, without feeling ashamed. And sometimes self-compassion is understanding that you can be a good person and still struggle. That part took me a long time to learn, because I used to think struggling meant I was broken. Now, I think struggling mostly means you're alive. There's also something strange about modern life. We are constantly watching other people succeed. Somebody gets engaged. Somebody buys a house. Somebody gets rich. Somebody travels the world. And meanwhile, you're sitting in sweatpants eating cereal for dinner, wondering what happened to your life. Social media can make ordinary life feel like a failure. But here's the truth nobody says enough. Most people are confused. Most people are insecure. Most people are pretending they know what they're doing. Even confident people, even successful people, even the people posting motivational quotes every morning, especially them. I think self-compassion begins when we stop expecting ourselves to be superhuman. You are not a robot. You are a person. People get tired. People make mistakes. People heal slowly. People have weird days for no reason. That's normal. So here's something I want you to try this week. The next time you mess something up, pause for 1 second before attacking yourself. Just 1 second. And ask, what would sound kinder right now? Not fake positivity. Not everything is amazing. Just kinder, more fair, more human. Maybe instead of, I'm terrible at English, you say, I'm still learning, instead of, I ruin everything. Maybe I had a hard moment. Small changes matter because the voice inside your head becomes the environment you live in. And if that environment is constantly cruel, you will eventually feel exhausted. Before we finish today, I want to leave you with this thought. You do not need to become perfect to deserve kindness from yourself. Not after success. Not after productivity. Not after achievement. Now, as you are. Even if your room is messy, even if you're behind in life, even if you're confused, even if you're trying your best and your best feels small lately, you are still a human being, and humans need compassion. Thank you for listening today. Take care of yourselves, and I'll talk to you again soon.